Data basics. The down and dirty about data. Why should you listen to me? Why should you pay attention to this video? Well, first off, I've been working with computers for 25 years now. I started off in high school programming, and I've been doing it for quite a long time. I've also been working with data and reporting for 20 years. I am a specialist in creating reports and data-based applications. And I've developed multiple database-driven applications which people are still using today and are having success in their day-to-day business. Why should you watch this video? Well, the question would be, what does this video have to offer me? What am I going to get out of this video? And I can tell you what you're going to get. Data affects your life every day. We live in a world of technology. Computers, phones, the web, the internet, all of these things impact your life on a day-to-day basis. Just take, for instance, the web. The web is nothing but data. If you go to any one of these sites, you'll notice that there's a bunch of information on there, and all of that information is data. And this video is especially for people who work with data on a day-to-day basis. We're talking about office workers, data entry, and you may say, well, I don't have a data entry job. But do you enter data in a computer someplace? You may work in a parts store, a warehouse, or some other kind of job where you interact with a computer. This video can help you in your day-to-day applications. Let's get started. What you're going to learn in this video: how your computer sees data. We're going to talk about how the computer actually interprets what is inside of it. We'll talk about simple data types. We'll talk about validation versus flexibility. We'll be talking about complex data types. Let's see how our computers actually see the data. And I'm going to call this "Are the Lights On?" because it deals with basically nothing more than an on and off switch. The definition of a computer. Computer is one that computes. Well, that's really helpful. I got this definition from a popular dictionary, and it didn't help a lot, so I had to go and look up the word compute. And compute means to determine, especially by mathematical means. Well, that must mean that computers are mathematical machines. And we all know that math deals with numbers. Computers basically use numbers for everything. Computers also think in numbers in binary terms. Well, what does binary mean? Binary basically means ones and zeros. When you tell a computer maybe a simple phrase like apple pie, what does the computer actually see? Well, we think of an apple pie as that patriotic dish that we eat from time to time, but really what the computer sees is nothing but a bunch of ones and zeros. And not only does the computer see ones and zeros, but unless you specify to the computer exactly what those ones and zeros mean, the computer can get confused. You see, we have a bunch of ones and zeros, and we've already determined that those ones and zeros equal apple pie. But unless the computer knows it's looking at text, it could mean a number. It could mean a color. It could even mean a picture. So it's really important for the computer to know exactly what those ones and zeros mean at the time that they're interpreting them. The computer usually does most of the work. Most of the time the computer is doing the thinking for us. It's already in a place or stage for us to input this information. Have you ever tried opening a picture in a text editor? You get a bunch of really crazy characters, and the reason why is because the text editor is not designed to interpret a picture. Sometimes the computer gets confused when we don't absolutely show the computer exactly what we want. Let's try to do our part. One of the things I want to get across in this video is the fact that we do have an obligation when we're entering information in computers to kind of be knowledgeable about what computers actually see when we put this information in there. Understanding the way computers look at data, try to cooperate with the computer. Most of the time the computer already knows exactly what it is wanting to interpret, but when we have that knowledge, we can also help the computer along its way. First thing I want to talk about as far as data types are simple data types, and these are the building blocks that basically make up most of the larger types of data. There's three basic groups. We've got numbers, we've got text, and we basically got everything else. Numbers. Numbers are probably more than you expect just by the title of this slide. Whole numbers are nothing more than the numbers that we use to count on our fingers straight on up to millions and billions. We call them in the computer language integers, and as you can tell, it can be 1, 2, 3, or 1,465,798, and etc. It also includes negative numbers, and it also includes 0. So computers use integers for many simple mathematical functions like counting and adding whole numbers together, and this happens a lot inside of computing. Then we have fractional numbers, numbers that have decimal points in them. You may know what this number is. It's pi. And this number represents monetary value. Computers use fractional numbers to compute monetary transactions. And fractional numbers come in handy for scientific calculations. Dates. Did you know that dates are interpreted by the computer as a number? Most computers look at dates as a number. And giving a number instead of a date can sometimes confuse the computer. Dates are usually whole numbers, and the time of the day is usually a decimal fraction of that day number. It depends on the system that you're using, what type of number or where the numbers begin, and etc. And you can look online for different systems as to what they're actually using to determine what number equals what day.